Welcome back to the Vibrational Stage Podcast. Today I want to take you somewhere uncomfortable. Not painful, not negative, just uncomfortable. Because sometimes the most important discoveries are found in places where we've spent years avoiding. This week we have been talking about the mind that won't stop. A mind that keeps searching, keeps planning, keeps preparing, keeps reviewing, keeps solving, keeps running. And most people assume the problem is the activity itself. They believe the goal is to somehow silence the mind, to finally arrive at a place where the thoughts stop coming, where the worries disappear, where the internal noise goes quiet. But I don't think that's the real issue. I think something much deeper is happening. I think many people are unknowingly carrying an identity that depends upon the struggle. And if that is true, then shutting off the mental activity isn't merely difficult, it feels dangerous, because the struggle has become part of who they believe they are. Let's start here. Imagine I could wave a magic wand right now, in this moment, and every problem in your life disappeared. The financial concerns, gone. The workplace stress, gone. The relationship tension, gone. The future uncertainty, gone. The unfinished projects, gone. Everything resolved. Everything complete. Everything handled. What would happen next? Most people immediately answer, I'd finally relax. But would you? Or would your mind begin searching for the next problem? Would it start scanning the horizon looking for something that might go wrong? Would it begin creating hypothetical concerns? Would it find a reason to worry? Would it manufacture a new challenge? Because for many people, peace is not actually familiar. Struggle is familiar. Pressure is familiar. Responsibility is familiar. The nervous system learns familiarity long before it learns happiness. And what is familiar often feels safer than what is peaceful. That realization changed my life because I began noticing something. People often say they want freedom, but when freedom arrives, they become anxious. People say they want stillness, but when stillness arrives, they become restless. People say they want rest, but when rest arrives, they feel guilty. Why? Because they've spent so much of their lives in motion that motion has become home. Think about that. Motion has become home. Not joy, not peace, not presence, motion. The next goal, the next achievement, the next challenge, the next mountain, the next finish line. And yet the strange thing is that every finish line eventually turns into another starting line. Every accomplishment eventually becomes normal. Every promotion becomes expected. Every achievement becomes history. The mind adapts. The mind recalibrates. The mind says, wonderful, now what? This is why so many high achievers secretly feel exhausted, not physically, existentially, because they keep arriving where they thought fulfillment lived, only to discover fulfillment isn't there. The promotion arrives, the satisfaction fades, the business grows, the satisfaction fades. The children grow up, the satisfaction fades. The mortgage gets paid off, the satisfaction fades. The retirement account reaches the goal, the satisfaction fades. And the mind immediately begins searching again. Not because there's anything wrong with you, but because the mind was never designed to provide completion. The mind is a seeker. It searches, it compares, it evaluates, it identifies threats, it imagines futures, it solves problems. That's what it does. The tragedy occurs when we ask the mind to provide something it cannot provide. We ask it for peace. We ask it for enoughness. We ask it for permanence. We ask it for completion. And so the search continues, year after year, decade after decade, always looking, always reaching, always becoming, never arriving. But there's another layer beneath all of this, And this layer is the one few people talk about because it is deeply personal. At some point in life, many of us unconsciously decided that our worth was conditional. Maybe nobody ever said those words directly. Maybe they didn't have to. Maybe the lesson came through praise. Maybe it came through criticism. Maybe it came through expectations. Maybe it came through survival. But somewhere along the way, we learned a message that sounded something like this. You matter when you perform. You matter when you achieve. You matter when you contribute. You matter when you succeed. You matter when you are useful. And if the belief takes root deeply enough, something tragic begins to happen. Life becomes a lifelong audition. Every day becomes another performance review. Every accomplishment becomes temporary evidence that you are acceptable. And every setback becomes evidence that perhaps you're not. No wonder the mind won't stop. It thinks your survival depends on proving your worth. It thinks your value is something that must be earned. It thinks acceptance is always one achievement away, one accomplishment away, one success away, one more mountain away. And so it keeps running, not because it enjoys running, because it is terrified of stopping. Because if the activity stops, the proving stops. And if the proving stops, what remains? This is the moment where many people encounter a silence they have spent years avoiding. Because beneath the striving is a terrifying question. If I'm not my accomplishments, who am I? If I'm not my responsibilities, who am I? If I'm not my role, who am I? If I'm not my story, who am I? Most people spend their lives answering these questions intellectually. Few people experience them directly. And yet the answer is sitting quietly beneath every thought, beneath every fear, beneath every success, beneath every failure, beneath every identity. There is awareness, pure awareness. The awareness reading these words right now. The awareness that was present when you were 10 years old. The awareness that is present when you were 20, 30, 40, 50. The body changes, the roles changed, the jobs changed, the circumstances changed, the story changed, but awareness remained. Something has been present through all of it. Something has witnessed every chapter of your life, and that something has never needed improving. It has never needed fixing. It has never needed proving. It has never needed earning. It simply is. This is why awareness feels so threatening to the identity, because awareness reveals something the identity does not want to hear. You were never the struggle. You were the one observing the struggle. You were never the fear. You were the one observing the fear. You were never the story. You were the one observing the story. You were never the role. You were the one playing the role. And if that is true, then perhaps the peace you seek is not waiting at the end of the journey. Perhaps it exists underneath the journey itself. Perhaps what you have been searching for is not ahead of you. Perhaps it's been quietly waiting beneath the noise all along. Which brings me to the question I want to leave you with today. And I don't want you to answer it intellectually. I want you to feel it, sit with it, live with it, allow it to follow you through the rest of your day. The question is this: who would you be if there was nothing left to prove? Not someday, not after retirement, not after success, not after healing, not after certainty, right now. Who would you be if there was nothing left to prove? Because I suspect that something beneath the striving, beneath the vigilance, beneath the endless activity of the mind, lives the person you have been trying to reach your entire life. And the beautiful irony is this: That person has been there all along, waiting patiently, not for you to become someone else, but for you to finally stop running long enough to notice. Until next time, my friends, be well, be curious, and remember, you may not be carrying the struggle may be carrying your identity. And seeing that distinction may change everything. Coming soon. VSP number 3, I Can't Shut It Off. If today's conversation resonated with you, we're only scratching the surface. Inside VSP number 3, I Can't Shut It Off, we go much deeper into the hidden relationship between identity, vigilance, productivity, and the mind's relentless need to stay active. Together, we'll explore why the mind mistakes vigilance for safety, the hidden addiction to relief and problem solving, how hypervigilance quietly masquerades as responsibility, why rest can feel unsafe even when nothing is wrong, the moving finish line of achievement and success, the difference between awareness and thought, how to create genuine psychological closure, and why the realization that the village is safe changes everything. VSP number 3 is the newest addition to the growing Vibe Shift Core Problems library, a collection of transformational audio experiences designed to help high-achieving professionals solve the challenges they silently carry every day. Current Core Problem Library, VSP number 1, When the Mind Pulls You into Fear. VSP number 2, When Everything Feels Like Too Much. And VSP number 3, I Can't Shut It Off, which is coming soon. Because sometimes the problem isn't your workload. Sometimes the problem is the invisible operating system running underneath it. Continue the conversation. This week's core problem continues on the Vibe Shift blog, where you'll find additional insights, reflections, and resources designed to support your journey toward greater clarity, peace, and self-awareness. You can continue by following the link in the show notes. If today's episode helped you recognize yourself in the conversation, the blog expands on many of these ideas and provides another opportunity to continue exploring them at your own pace. Until next time, my friends, be well, be curious, and remember, you may not be carrying the struggle may be carrying your identity. And seeing that distinction may change everything.